Welcome back to our dark world of stories. Tonight, I have two true horror stories just for you. Stories that will send chills down your spine and keep you awake at night. And at the end, there is a special bonus story, only for my brave listeners who stay till the last second. So turn off your lights, put on your headphones, and get ready to feel the darkness. Let's begin. Imagine driving down a dark rural road at midnight, surrounded by endless fields. No lights, no houses, just an ocean of shadows under a silent sky. You're lost, alone, scared. You call your parents for help, and then you scream and vanish forever. Tonight, we journey into one of America's most haunting real-life mysteries, the disappearance of Brandon Swanson. It was May 14th, 2008, a warm spring night in Minnesota. 19-year-old Brandon was driving back from a college gathering. He wasn't drunk, he wasn't reckless, he was just a normal young man trying to get home. But what happened over the next hour would become a psychological nightmare for his family, and a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Brandon had spent the evening celebrating the end of spring semester with friends in Canby, Minnesota. At around midnight, he left in his Chevy Lumina, planning to drive home to Marshall, about 30 minutes away. But he never made it. At 1:54 a.m., his car veered off a gravel road into a ditch near Taunton. It wasn't a crash. The car was simply stuck. Brandon tried to drive out, but the wheels spun deeper into the ditch. So, like any child would, he called his parents. His father, Brian, answered. Brandon told him not to worry. He was unhurt, just frustrated. He believed he was near Lind, a small town near their home. But he wasn't there, he was near Taunton. His parents drove out immediately, flashing their headlights and asking Brandon to do the same. But they couldn't see each other. For nearly 47 minutes, they stayed on the phone as Brandon grew more agitated. He kept saying he could see lights in the distance, perhaps Lind, perhaps a farmhouse. His father offered to pick him up if he walked towards the lights. So Brandon began walking. He described his surroundings: gravel roads, fence lines, fields, water. His father stayed on the line, listening to his son's steady footsteps and tired sighs. Brandon remained calm, although frustrated. He kept reassuring his dad that he knew where he was going. Then, after almost an hour, at 2:30 a.m., Brandon suddenly shouted. There was the sound of movement, possibly a stumble, a gasp, and then silence. His parents called back repeatedly, but Brandon never answered again. When police searched the area the next morning, they found his car miles away from where he thought he was. It was near Taunton, not Lind. Footprints were traced from his car along a gravel road, into fields, and towards the Yellow Medicine River. The prints ended abruptly near the riverbank. Theory 1. Brandon fell into the river and drowned, but cadaver dogs tracked his scent across the river to the other side. No body was ever recovered despite multiple searches. Theory 2. He succumbed to hypothermia and exposure. Temperatures dropped that night, and lost in farmland, it's possible he collapsed unseen. Theory 3. Foul play. But there was no evidence of an attack, robbery, or motive, just his footprints ending near water. Theory 4. The psychological theory, disassociation and panic. Being lost in complete darkness for hours, alone, hearing coyotes and river sounds, causes disorientation, fear, and poor decisions. Psychologists note that victims in such states often move erratically, worsening their own rescue chances. Imagine walking in pitch darkness, guided only by a distant light that never seems to get closer. Every step feels like progress, yet every sound feels like something is following you. Your phone is your only connection to the world, your father's voice your only comfort. And then you slip or see something or hear something, and in a single scream, your existence vanishes from this world. That's the true horror of Brandon Swanson's disappearance. Not blood, not violence, but the abyss of the unknown, swallowing a human being without a trace. Brandon's parents never gave up. In 2009, Minnesota passed Brandon's law, requiring law enforcement to immediately begin a missing person search, regardless of presumed runaway status or age. Over 15 years later, Brandon has never been found. His mother still believes he is out there somewhere, waiting to come home. So I ask you, what happened that night? Did Brandon fall into darkness forever? Or is there something else hidden in those silent Minnesota fields, watching, waiting, just beyond the reach of headlights? Now, let's hear the second story of this dark night. This is the real-life disappearance of Maura Murray, a story of cold roads, hidden secrets, and a girl who walked into darkness and was never seen again. Maura Murray was 21 years old. She was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Maura was smart. She loved running and hiking. She was in the Army Reserve. She had a boyfriend named Bill and a loving family. But in the days before she vanished, strange things happened. She crashed her dad's car into a guardrail after a party. She cried to her sister on the phone about something bad, but never said what. She searched online for places to stay in Vermont and New Hampshire. On February 9, 2004, Maura emailed her teachers saying there was a family emergency. But there was no family emergency. She packed her car with clothes, snacks, alcohol bottles, and started driving north into New Hampshire. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. At 7:27 p.m. in Haverhill, New Hampshire, her car skidded off Route 112 and hit a snowbank. A school bus driver returning home saw the accident. He stopped and asked Maura if she needed help. She said, "No, I've already called AAA," but there was no cell signal in that area. She couldn't have called anyone. The bus driver drove home and called the police from his house. He watched Maura from his window while waiting. 10 minutes later, when the police arrived, Maura was gone. Her car was locked. Inside they found her packed bags, alcohol bottles, some broken, her favorite stuffed monkey hanging from the rearview mirror, a rag stuffed into her exhaust pipe. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from her car. Theory 1. Maura ran away to start a new life. She was in trouble for credit card fraud. She had crashed her dad's car days earlier, but she left behind her phone, bank account, and family. Theory 2. She was picked up by a passing car and harmed, but no one reported seeing another vehicle. Theory 3. She walked into the woods and died from the cold, but massive searches with dogs and thermal cameras found no trace of her. Theory 4. Suicide, but there was no note, and her family denies she was suicidal. Imagine you are Maura. You crash your car on a dark, icy road. A stranger offers help, but you say no. You stand alone in the cold, in the dark. The wind cuts your skin. Your breath turns to mist. You see the trees. You hear nothing but the wind. And you decide to leave, to step into the freezing woods, and never come back. It's been over 19 years. Maura's father still drives those same roads, searching for his daughter. Her story inspired books, podcasts, and documentaries. But the truth remains frozen in those silent woods of New Hampshire. What happened to Maura Murray that night? Did she run away? Was she taken? Or is she still there, hidden among the trees and snow? No one knows. Now, as tonight's bonus story, let me tell you about a ghost who waits on lonely roads and asks strangers for a ride home. This is the story of Resurrection Mary. She is Chicago's most famous ghost. People say they see her at night, walking alone on Archer Avenue, wearing a white dress. Her skin looks pale, her hair blonde, and her eyes sad. She waves at passing cars, asking for a ride. Drivers who stop say she sits quietly and gives them an address near Resurrection Cemetery. The story goes back to the 1930s. One night, a young man was driving down Archer Avenue after a dance. He saw a girl walking alone in the cold. She wore a beautiful white dress. She was shivering. He stopped and asked, "Do you need a ride home?" She nodded softly and got in. They drove down the quiet, dark road. She told him to stop near Resurrection Cemetery. The car stopped. She pointed at the cemetery gates. He looked away for a second to turn off the engine, and when he turned back, she was gone. The door never opened. She didn't run away. She simply vanished into the night. Many people say they have seen Resurrection Mary. Some taxi drivers said she disappeared before they reached the cemetery. Others said they saw her dancing alone inside old dance halls, then walking out into the dark. One man swore she walked through the locked gates of Resurrection Cemetery, leaving handprints burned into the iron bars. Imagine driving down a lonely road at midnight. Cold wind, empty streets, no other cars. You see a young woman in white standing alone. Her hair moves softly in the breeze. Her eyes look empty and sad. You let her in. She says nothing. You feel chills run through your body. You stop near the cemetery. You blink, and she is gone. Did you really see her? Or was it a ghost longing to go home, but never reaching her grave? Resurrection Mary still waits on Archer Avenue. Some nights, if you drive down that road, you might see her, glowing softly in the dark. Would you stop and give her a ride home? Thank you for staying till the very end tonight. You are one of the few who listen to every shadow, every secret, and every spirit's silent cry. If you enjoyed these stories, like this video, subscribe and tell me in the comments. Have you ever seen a ghost on a lonely road? And if you have your own true horror or mystery story, email me at your email address. Your story might be told here next. Until our dark paths cross again, stay aware, stay safe, and never drive alone. If you see someone in white, waiting by the roadside,